Thank you for joining us to learn a little bit more about our state of Indiana student financial aid programs. We won't go through all of the programs, but we'll definitely touch on the ones that you should know about as a high school student, or the ones that are a little bit different in college that you should know about now, so it's on your radar to apply later. All right, so we'll list all of our programs here on these first two slides. We separate everything into what's called need-based, and need-based means we look at the money that you and your family make and determine if you qualify for that program or not. And then we also have non-need-based scholarships and grants, and that means that we don't care how much money you or your family makes. If you meet the requirements for the scholarship, you get it. So that's kind of how we separate everything out here in Indiana. So the first thing I want to address really quickly is the FAFSA. So this is the free application for federal student aid. This is a form that you and your family will fill out every single year until you are done with college. So it's really important that you meet our state deadline if you're interested in our state financial aid. So for our purposes in Indiana, you have between October 1st and April 15th each year to file your FAFSA. One thing I do want to mention is some colleges have priority deadlines that you have to get this form in online by that deadline. Some of them are in November or December. So pay attention to what the college wants first, and then if they're fairly open, just make sure you meet our state deadline. So make sure you're also on FAFSA.gov, because this is a free form. You should never, ever pay money to file it. If you do, potentially they could hold on to it or not submit it right away, and then you might miss our deadline. So again, it's the free application, so don't pay any money for it. Go straight to the government site and get that form in. You also need to remember to file the correct year FAFSA for when you want to be in college. So if you are a high school senior this year, or you need to renew, if you're a current college student, you need to renew it, you're going to file the 2021-22 FAFSA because it's for this next school year. So keep that in mind as well. And then this year, no matter when you file, if you file in November or December, or you file in February or March, you're going to use 2019 tax information and W-2 forms for you and your family. So keep that in mind. And then we also really want you to make sure that you're using your personal permanent email address on these forms. Most of the time, the state and federal government will email you important information because we're trying to save money. And so email is free, it's instant, we know you're going to receive it. So make sure that it's an email address you check often. Same thing goes for any student who fills out applications for our aid on ScholarTrack. Please make sure you're using a good personal email address that you check a lot. All right, so our first category is need-based awards. So again, these are our scholarships and grants where we look at how much money you and your family make, and then that will determine if you're eligible for the scholarship. So the first one is actually our largest scholarship. It's the Frank O'Bannon Grant, named after one of our former governors. So depending on if you're at a public or a private college, it might look a little different on your financial aid package. So if you're at a public school, somewhere like Indiana University, Purdue University, Ball State, Indiana State, schools like that, it'll say the Higher Education Award, or HEA. If you're at a private college, like Notre Dame, Butler, University of Indianapolis, schools like that, it'll say Freedom of Choice. It's all the same. So not to make it too confusing, but that's how it goes. To qualify for our state aid, you have to be an Indiana resident. So again, all of our programs are Indiana scholarships for Indiana residents. If you have questions on this, you can definitely contact our office. You just have to be a resident by December 31st. of the year prior to when you'll start college. So this year's seniors have to be residents by December 31st of 2020. You have to be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen, and this goes for both federal and state aid. You have to have a high school diploma or an HSE, high school equivalency. You do need to be a full-time college student to use this grant. We have other grants if you're going to go part-time. So again, this is for full-time college students. File your FAFSA, get it all cleaned up, and then this amount will actually be determined by your financial need. We do offer incentives that go with this grant. So potentially you could get a base award and then also get bonuses on top of that, which is really cool. So if you get an academic honors or technical honors diploma from high school, you would be put into this honors diploma bracket for a bonus money. And then if you want to jump into this honors diploma bonus while you're in college, you just have to get a 3.0 cumulative GPA or higher, and then we'll automatically give that to you. So really, really cool bonus there. The second one we want to talk about is the associate's degree incentive. So this one, you have to actually earn your associate's degree first and then enroll in a bachelor's degree program. So Vincennes University has a few programs that transition straight away into the bachelor's degree. So you kind of have to be careful. You have to finish your associates first, then get your bachelor's, and then we would give you bonus money for that. And then the last incentive we have is the accelerated schedule. So this bonus is for those students who are taking 39 credit hours or more per year in college. So this is bonus money for students who are actively doing a 4-year degree in only 3 years. So again, we're giving you extra money as a bonus because it's going to take more money to front load that many classes each year. So our 21st Century Scholarship, we do a totally separate video series about this, but I did want to touch on it just really quickly. If you are a 21st Century Scholar, you enrolled in middle school, so 7th or 8th grade, and then your acceptance was based on your income criteria, if it matches what we needed for that. Again, it pays up to 100% tuition at our public colleges. It pays partial tuition at private or proprietary colleges. And then, as always, it pays toward tuition and regularly assessed fees, but does not cover textbooks, room and board, class fees, lab fees, supplies, any of that stuff. So just keep that in mind. Even if you're a 21st Century Scholar, it's not a free ride. You do have to find other forms of scholarships and grants, that free money to help cover all of those other costs. And it's good for 4 years, so up to your undergraduate degree, and then you must access it within 1 year of graduating high school. So this is your 21st Century Scholarship SSP grid on ScholarTrack. So hopefully this looks familiar to you. But again, if you have questions on any activities, please reach out to your outreach coordinator or your school counselor, and they can connect us, and then you'll be good to go with that. So never feel like you can't ask a question, because we definitely want to help you with that. And then this is a preview of your college ScholarTrack activities. So there's no videos. We know you're going to be busy. Most of it will be auto-reported. So you'll only have to report who your college mentor or champion is, and then you pick one thing from the middle column and one thing from the last column to report. So super simple. Again, if you have questions, definitely reach out. So Earn Indiana. So this is our Employment Aid Readiness Network, otherwise known as our state work-study program. So a little bit different than federal work-study, because in our program, only 25% of your total daily tasks can be clerical or, filing, go run, get me a coffee, that kind of thing. So these are actually going to be resume building, experiential internships that, best part is, they're paid. So it all goes through, it's kind of like Match.com, and you'll create a profile, and employers create profiles, and through the magic of Indiana InternNet, they will match you up, and then you can do an interview and hopefully find an awesome paid internship. A lot of our Earn Indiana interns actually get hired by the places where they intern, so we have great reports on that side too. So it's one that not a lot of people are familiar with, but it's awesome, so check it out. Now we're going to go on to our non-need based programs. So again, anything in this section, we don't look at your family's financials at all. You'll just get this scholarship if you meet the requirements. So these are very wordy slides because, you know, legal jargon, but essentially we will break them down. Mitch Daniels Early Graduation Scholarship. This scholarship is for students who graduate a full year early from high school. So that means you have all of your requirements for a Core 40 degree or Core 40 diploma totally finished by the end of your 11th grade year. So you technically have until July 1st to wrap everything up, and then that all has to be reported to the Department of Ed by your school. So you do apply for this on ScholarTrack from an upgraded or full access student account. So if you haven't done that yet, check that out as well. But essentially it's $4,000 just to be put toward anything you need for your first year of college. So you will have to submit that application on ScholarTrack as well as file your FAFSA before you do the online application. So your information is in there. The other thing we want to point out on this is that you have to attend college that fall semester immediately following high school graduation. So we get a lot of questions on, can you graduate a full year early but then wait until like spring or the next year, and you can't. So you're graduating full year early from high school and going straight into college as if you were a traditional senior. So I want to talk a little bit about teaching scholarships. We are recruiting hard for teachers in Indiana because as you know, nationwide, we're going to have teacher shortage here really soon. So we want students to have teachers who don't look like them, who do look like them, who are male and female and all of the above and purple and whatever. So we are reaching out to all of our students to at least consider becoming a teacher. So we're putting a lot of money up front to people who are considering going into teaching. So our first one that I'm going to talk about is our student teaching stipend for minorities. In the legislation, minority is defined as Black or Hispanic, so that's who would be considered a minority for this scholarship or this stipend. You do have to be a full-time student in Indiana. You have to be student teaching, so that's really important because this is going to be basically almost like a paycheck for doing the job of student teaching. So you have to be working on that. You can apply if you're student teaching both fall term and spring term in college. You can apply twice and potentially get both. And this works just like, again, being paid for a job. So the one thing we do want to remind you, if you're getting one of our student teaching stipends, you do have to have either a checking or savings account, and that's where the money would be deposited. And then you will have to pay taxes on that. So just want you to know that that is part of the deal with that, since you are getting paid. But it doesn't go through financial aid, so we pay you directly for it, and you can use it for anything you need, whether that's clothing to meet the dress code at the school where you're student teaching, gas money to get you from your apartment to the place where you're student teaching, anything you might need. So again, in the same grouping for this, student teaching stipend for high needs fields. So same kind of basic criteria. You would apply on ScholarTrack. You'll work with your School of Education in college to be certified for this. So for our purposes in Indiana, high needs fields right now are special education, K through 12 level, or middle school level math or science, or high school math or science. So whatever your program that you're in, when you're student teaching in one of those programs, you would qualify for this. Again, these are stackable. So if you are a minority student who is also student teaching in a high needs field, you can get both stipends, which is awesome. So keep that in mind as well. Again, remember it is taxable income, so you will have to file your taxes for these programs. All right, the other teaching scholarship I wanted to touch on is our Next Generation Hoosier Educator Scholarship. So this one's really competitive, and this one is actually our only program that transitions into a loan if you don't meet the requirements at the end. So we would reward you if you apply, you get chosen. We pick 200 students per year, starting with high school seniors can apply all the way through college. You have to be high achieving. So that means you have to be either in the top 20% of your high school class, or you would have to have a top 20% score for either the SAT or ACT exam. You do agree, if you receive this, we give you $7,500 per year renewable for all 4 years of your undergraduate degree. You agree to teach in Indiana for at least 5 years. So if you do not make the 5-year mark of teaching in Indiana, for each year you don't work, you'd have to pay back that portion of your total amount that you received for the scholarship. So again, hopefully that's not a huge deal. Hopefully you meet that requirement, but we just want to let you know up front, this is our only program that again turns into a loan at the end if you don't meet the requirements. So if you're a high school senior or a college freshman or sophomore, the application for this opened on ScholarTrack October 1st, and it closes January 31st of 2021 for this year. So keep that in mind. All right, so switching away from teaching. Now we're going to our Indiana Workforce Ready Grant. All of this information, you probably know it better as Next Level Jobs. So if you've seen the billboards or maybe a Facebook ad or something, nextleveljobs.org is where all of the information for this scholarship can be found. You do have to be, again, meet residency, citizenship requirements. For this one, you have to have a high school diploma or an equivalency, but you cannot already have a college degree. So there are certain programs that run out December 30th of 2020, but again, time is kind of running out to enroll in those. So if you have questions on rapid recovery portion of this, definitely connect with us on nextleveljobs.org, and we can kind of help you through all of that. So if you're going to enroll in a credit-bearing program through Ivy Tech or Vincennes, you do need to file a FAFSA. If you are going to do your training through a workplace partner who's been approved by us, you don't have to file a FAFSA. So again, if you have questions about that, let us know. But this covers your full cost of training. So the tuition, your mandatory fees, select consumables, things like welding rods, IV bags, certain things that you use up. But we are not able to cover things like scrubs or things like that that are a little more expensive, tools that would cost a lot of money. So again, Ivy Tech, Vincennes, tons and tons of workplace partners are approved. It's all on the website, and we have training in 5 different sectors of the workforce that you can choose from. All right, we're rounding up toward the end. So Learn More Indiana, that's us. We're part of the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. Definitely check out our website. We have quizzes over all kinds of things that are fun, information, links to partners that are very trusted, videos. Obviously, you found this video through us. And we want to make sure that you are aware we love all kinds of training. So we're not only about college, we also care about if you want to go into apprenticeships or the trades, things like that. We do have links to partners in that as well, because we just want you to have training in something more than just your high school diploma. So ideally, we want you to pick something that works for you, that's interesting, whether that's college to get to a career or apprenticeship or the trades to get to a career. We love it all. So we have everything on there for exploration. And then we also have sections on there specific to 21st Century Scholars, as well as contact information for outreach coordinators and our Student Support Center if you have questions. So thanks so much for joining us for our little quick dive into all of our state aid programs. Hopefully it was informational. And again, if you have questions, please let us know. Thanks, everybody.